Hello and welcome to Jeremy's Yorkshire Allotment Adventures on what is, believe it or not, a very warm, very mild morning here on the allotment. The wind is up, very cloudy, but very, very mild, which is a bit peculiar to say all of the rain we've had over the past week is absolutely sodden underfoot here on the allotment. And well, you may be wondering why I've got some bunting around my neck and I have my Yorkshire sign in my hand that was very kindly donated by two viewers, Saffron and Barnaby. Thank you very much for my bunting, and Sarah and family down in Malvern with, well, our lovely sign here. The reason I've got them is I've been looking through my seeds and I've lost this all summer. I couldn't work out where they were. And I've actually done some filming, popped them in the bag with the seeds. That's why I couldn't find them. I'm sorting my seeds out for next year already. So let me just take this off and carry on with the introduction. It is, of course, pumpkin picking season. And, well, this is one of mine. And they're not very giant, are they? And they're very peculiar. These are called ugly pumpkins. And, well, bless it, it's not done very well. Apparently, it's been a really bad year for pumpkins in a lot of places because of the really hot, droughty weather. There wasn't enough water coming to these beauties. And I've suffered here on my allotment. But anyway, sit back, relax, get your feet up, get your cuppa out, because we're heading towards the show. Well, I just thought I'd pop up to show you my garlic, but I was about to sit down and I found this most amazing, beautiful orange mushroom growing in my sack of potatoes. And well, here's a close-up photograph of it. If any of you know what type of mushroom it is, why it's growing here, it's just so beautiful. I've never seen a bright orange one like this before. Incredible. Well, I've got my glove on because I don't know if it's poisonous or not, so I'll pop that over there for a moment. And it's got beautiful veins underneath. However, I'm here to talk about garlic. But before I do, did you put the clocks back? Did you remember? Well, here in the UK anyway, because thanks to Carol in Canada, hello Carol, great message. I really, really loved having it. And it's interesting that you don't put your clocks back until the 6th of November. And you do this apparently to help with the children for All Hallows Eve, for Halloween. So they're not doing it in the pitch black so much anyway. And well, possibly Bonfire Night too, which happens on the 5th. But it does here in this country. Does anybody else around the world celebrate Bonfire Night? Because of course here it's all to do with Guy Fawkes and trying to blow up Parliament and all that sort of thing. Well, interesting, is it? So as I say, sat here with the garlic. It's doing really, really well. It's loved having the cold of this last few weeks and also all of the rain we've had. Luckily this is a well-drained area and so it's really picked up. However, it's also picked up in the old potato sack that I've potted 5 plants in, and in fact here's a photograph of those, and that's doing pretty well too. So hopefully, fingers crossed, come April, May next year I will have beautiful garlic and well, we'll see, won't we? Anything could change, you know, as gardeners, we know that. Now, why do we celebrate Halloween? What's it all about? Well, we have to go back hundreds of years, thousands of years in fact, to the Celts. Yes, the Celts, and they were around in the Ireland and the UK and France, and well, they were celebrated life and death. And around this time, so the 31st of October into the 1st of November, that was their New Year's Eve. That's when they thought that the seasons changed. So it went from the light, as we are now, of the summer months into November, the dark winter months. And on that eve, so the 31st, was they called, well, we now call it All Hallows Eve, but they believed that their dead came back as ghosts. And they're a bit mischievous with the ghosts because they could wreck crops and they could throw things about and have a bit of a, well, ruin things really. And so what they did is they also felt that the fire and dressing up in costumes would ward off these, what they called evil spirits, that would come and wreck all of their lovely crops. And so they built huge bonfires and they wore animal skins and they sacrificed animals actually on the bonfires too, to hopefully ward off these ghosts of the past. Now, interestingly, what they did is when the embers were burning down off the massive bonfires, they would take those flames from there into their homes and light the fires that would keep them warm throughout the winter months, and also would keep them safe from any spirits that decide to pop back from the other worlds. It was a magical night apparently, because they also believed that their druids or their, Celtic priests had a moment in that time to be able to contact the spirits, get involved with the spirits and predict the future. So it became a really, really magical time, as well as being, of course, scary and all those other things. And as I say, that carried on for hundreds of years until, of course, the Romans came along and they took over the majority of the lands that were run by the Celts and their religions, and they've been imposed, of course, over the 400-year reign that the Romans had, and they brought their festivals with them. And the old festival of the Celts was called, now I'm going to read this because it's actually spelled Samhain, and you think it pronounced shaman, but it's not. It's pronounced Samhain. So Sowin, Samhain. And that was the Celtic festival. And the Romans changed this. And, it's called Ferelia, and that was their symbol, again, for welcoming the dead back, the Day of the Dead, celebrating all of their lives, and etc., etc. So it's all intermingling, all happening. And then they decided to have another festival called Pomona. And Pomona, well, she was the goddess of fruit and trees. And some people believe that's where, on Halloween, we get apple bobbing. As you know, I've been struggling all morning, apple bobbing from. It's all incorporated into all these different religions and ideas. And over the hundreds of years it's spanned, it's changed, obviously. It still, impressively, stays around the same date. And then the carving was introduced, pumpkin carving, celebration, dressing up, went to America and became as huge as it is today. And it's come back around the world now. And that's why we celebrate All Hallows Eve. It's to ward off evil spirits from wrecking our crops and our lands. Fascinating, isn't it? So, good luck on the 31st of October. Enjoy if you are dressing up and carving your pumpkins. Speaking of carving pumpkins, you saw my little ones. I found the packets actually, and I did buy some giant pumpkin seeds, but because of the weather here, it's not worked. And in fact, here's a photograph of mine, and these are supposedly giant pumpkins. They were sown in February this year. I only sowed 5 seeds from those, and mine haven't done very well. However, let's go to Nottingham to Jonathan, and thank you for this picture, Jonathan. It's incredible. These are your pumpkins from your pumpkin patch on your allotment. Amazing. That was me last year, but not this year. You've done fantastically well to get those of that size this year. Well, before I go today, and I've found a little corner where the wind is not affecting the microphone, I've put my bunting up and I've got my little sign up, so thank you once again for those contributions to the show. Sat here next to my bag of garlic, which is fantastic. It likes it very much. It does this cold weather, adds lots of flavour apparently to the garlic, and which is a good thing. Now, when I talked about my pumpkins earlier, I said I'd sown 5. I got that mistake. I actually sown 12, and here's a photograph, and it was the 28th of the 2nd. I've not got many left at all, so I don't know what's happened over those. I did give some away actually, so maybe that's what's gone off there. The 5 related to apparently last year, February 21, it says here on this packet, and I've sown 5 squash seeds now. Unbelievably, I don't ever remember last year squash at all anywhere on the allotment, so they can't have survived. However, what has survived inside here are 4 seeds. So this next year I'm going to have a go at growing some squash seeds and see whether or not we can get those coming up too. I've also saved some seeds from the pumpkins this year. Now these aren't my pumpkins, they've been carved by the kids, so here's a little picture, look, and fantastic looking faces, brilliant, and I've saved the seeds from those, only a handful, They're drying off naturally, they'll be put into a bag, and so when I come to next year I'm going to try and sow those seeds too, and let's see if I do better with those than I've done with what these are called Big Macs. Well, I'm afraid Big Macs, he didn't turn up. Once again, thank you very much for watching Jeremy's Yorkshire Allotment Adventures. I hope you've had a greater success with your pumpkins than I have. We know Jonathan has down in Nottinghamshire, so cheers for that once again. And well, let's hope the winter months don't affect the growing season too much. My lettuces inside are coming up really well. In fact, before I go, here's another quick photograph of the lettuce, doing really well too. So I'm pleased with that, because I do love a bit of lettuce over the winter period, don't we? Christmas Day in the afternoon, a nice little sandwich with a bit of lettuce will be all right, I think. Just won't have any tomatoes around at that time. Although having said that, they are still lingering. Haven't yet had a chance to dig them all up, but they are slowly turning. So that's nice, isn't it too? As I say, thank you very much for watching Jeremy's Yorkshire Allotment Adventures. Thank you for your comments. Once again, Carol, thank you for your comment all the way from Canada. Brilliant stuff. Carol, enjoy it on the 6th of November when you put your clocks back. Ta-ra for now.